You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It's August 25th, 2016, and it is another episode of the Impact Implosion here on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. As always, I am Seth Draken, and on the other end is the obsolete mule to my broken genius, Mr. Mike Poland.
It is the broken brilliance of the Impact Implosion.
We have missed 2 weeks of show, so we have to go with 3 weeks of Impact.
Yeah.
Yay!
1, 2, 3 weeks.
Yay!
Maybe down for the count before the end of the show.
Yeah. Not much news happened during those 3 weeks, other than apparently James Storm might be gone again.
No, it's a work.
Well, if it's a work, it's a stupid work. Why would you work the boys?
We're gonna suspend him just to write him off TV for a few weeks.
And then they did the Pop TV. Well, they did at the tapings. He said this was his last match. He fulfilled his obligation, and he wanted to be with Bram.
That's an odd last match.
Yeah. And he won, too, so, yeah, like I said.
All the people that want to face in your last match.
Like I said, I don't know if it's a work or not, but, yeah, that whole shit happened, but that's it.
Let's get into these shows.
Let's just get into these shows before we get tired and bored. So anyway, the first Impact I watched on demand because I forgot to record this son of a bitch.
Yes, the Lashley Storm show.
We start this show with EC3 celebrating his victory last week to go on to Bound for Glory. He says he hasn't had a moment of perfection yet, and I'm like, you had an undefeated streak.
You were undefeated for 2.5 years, buddy.
Yeah, if that ain't a moment of perfection, I don't know what is, you ninny.
Mm-hmm. So
he's bound for glory, and here comes the turtle named Franklin.
Hey, it's Franklin.
And Franklin's like, oh, yeah, EC3, all cheerleaders here.
TNA is full of animals. We have a turtle, we have a mule.
Yep. We have an obsolete mule.
Yes.
We have a gazelle.
Yes.
So Franklin says he is the best, and no one has come close. And then James Storm comes out. Speaking of James Storm, he comes out and says he is going to be the man in this company while his mic fails. But thankfully, he is loud enough to be heard. He challenged Franklin to come at him, and Franklin doesn't pussyfoot around as he attacks. Both fight to backstage. Yeah. Franklin ain't a sissy heel. He's like, oh, you want to challenge me? Fine.
Yep.
So then we have Mike Bennett and Moose attack EC3 from behind, and Eddie Edwards makes the save. So Miracle Moose get knocked out of the outside, and oddly enough, Franklin may have forgotten his belts.
Oh, boy.
Someone go get him and bring them to him while he's fighting. So,
Franklin.
Tag team match set up, EC3 and Edwards versus Miracle Moose. And you think On Demand would get rid of the damn commercials, but nope. They were still there.
This segment went too long. So let's put a commercial in the middle.
Well, to be fair, this was a pretty okay match.
You got 3 good workers in there in Moose.
Yeah. You had a nice drop kick by Moose on Eddie on the top of the turnbuckle. Yeah, Moose can do a drop kick.
Yeah.
And Pope's talking about double shots of caffeine and souffles. I wonder if Pope gets hungry during commentary.
Fruity Delicious. Oh, wait, that's a different person.
So Moose does all the work. Miracle steals the pin. Moose is not happy. Basically, that's how it ends. Moose does his finisher. Miracle tags himself in, gets the pin.
You pinned Bennett, or did you pin Eddie or EC3?
Eddie. Pinned Eddie.
Okay, that makes, yeah.
Gotta protect EC3 on this one.
Gotta protect the guy who's
then
gonna be contending for the title in your main event.
Then we do He's Doing Things His Way. Next on Impact. And they basically, with the hallelujah, spoiled that it's Damian Sandow, now Aaron Rex. But first, we got a Bound for Glory commercial with broken Matt Hardy saying, "Bound for Glory! I knew you'd come." And Decay pops in. Could it be a harbinger of things to come?
Yes.
So they recap James Storm winning the world title 5 years ago. And they're hyping up Storm getting his first one-on-one opportunity for the world title. Since that time he won.
And held it for like a night.
3 weeks, something like that, before losing it to Bobby Roode, who's glorious right now. Josh,
hallelujah.
And then as Aaron Rex comes out,
that name.
Josh mentions Stu Sanders, Cody Rhodes, and Ryan Reeves all being in the free agent market with this man. And I'm like, Josh, those men ain't coming. Stu's retired. Cody's fine on the indies. And Ryan Reeves is going to go to New Japan.
I thought he said, was there somebody else he said on that list? He said Ryback, Cody, and Barrett?
No, he just said that, those three.
And Sandow's unfortunately the fourth name on the totem pole on that.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you thought this man would be, along with those guys, you thought this would be a mistake when he got released. And I'm like, so it's time for Aaron Rex to bury the WWE, even though he says this is not about them, this is about the fans instead, except it is. He talks a lot about them, about being too entertaining to be pushed, to get opportunities.
That's partially why you weren't pushed.
Yeah, Vince just didn't see anything in you, really. I hate to say that. He just didn't. That is ultimately what happens. And he made the Mizdow gimmick work, but they didn't do anything with it.
No, they took him off TV for 6 months after that gimmick ran its course.
Yeah.
That name, by the way, is terrible.
Oh, God, yes. It's spelled wrong, too.
You can't call him Idol.
It's also spelled wrong, too.
Aaron Rex.
With one A. Aaron Rex, yeah. That's how it's spelled.
We are the grammar Nazis here on Impact Implosion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Heil Dictionary.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So
we have the Matt Hardy segment next.
No preordained shoving down your throats in TNA? And I was like, yeah, someone might want to tell Gail Kim that. So he's here in TNA about an even playing field, and the crowd chants that he's a genius. Which he says he isn't. And after Josh is like,
somebody else
you want to shoot? Well, you want to shoot? Let's shoot. And I'm like, Josh.
You want to shoot, cowboy?
Let's shoot. And I'm like, Josh, guys, the age of shoot interviews is stupid. It's dumb. Live shoot interviews is dumb on TV.
Those things only work when it's unfortunately Rob Feinstein and they're sitting in front of a camera.
Yeah,
2 hours.
It's during an interview. This is not an interview. This is a promo where you're wasting people's time. So Maria is ordering Aliyah around. Gail asks why Allie lets Maria boss her around. And Gail has to be in a no DQ match against
Marty Bell. Ugh.
So Edwards has issues with Miracle and Moose. Edwards wants Miracle, but he volunteers Moose instead.
Good heel move.
Yep. So then we get Gail Kim versus Marty Bell, or as I accidentally called her on my Skype, Martin Bell. Oh, crap. Man, I misspelled that one. I actually put an N there.
Darn you, autocorrect.
Damn you. So, yeah.
Who's Martin Bell?
I don't know.
I'm going to call her that from now on whenever we talk about her.
Oh, God. That's the new name. Martin Bell. New bit. Oh, that's the new bit. Martin Bell. Kabuki Taker versus Martin Bell.
Yeah.
So Maria orders Allie to hit Gail Kim with the baton, and Gail throws Allie into Martin and ends up rolling her up for the win.
Oh, poor Martin Bell.
And of course, they all cheap shot them, basically beating 3-on-1 with Allie being kind of a little nervous about it. And then Jade comes in, who jumps before the gun before her music plays. She comes out and then her music plays, and I'm like, kind of jumped the gun there. Yep, so Allie cheap shotted Jade, and Allie the Chipmunk gets KO'd because of
Allie!
So Maria says, next week it's going to be Jade versus Gail.
Your new BFF for some reason.
And Matt compliments his new driver because he talks about how they're great, they're fascinating. You think it's Rebby. It turns out it's Vanguard 1, who I would like to remind you is a freaking drone.
The drone's driving a boat. The dummy's driving a bike.
Is driving a car. The world of broken Matt Hardy, where a fucking drone can drive a car somehow.
For some reason, I'd like to live in that world.
Of course, they go pick up Brother Nero, who is drawing. And Matt says he had a premonition about Duquesne kidnapping his family, so they aren't here. So
you're going to leave him alone in your house.
Yeah, Vanguard 1 must go back to North Carolina to protect Rebecca and King Maxwell.
Well, you don't have Tyrus to do it anymore, I guess.
Nah, Tyrus is still the fixer with the child labor law issues.
That gimmick is terrible.
I know. And
speaking of gimmicks that aren't terrible.
Well, that's actually is James Storm. They're more promoting
what's going on in there?
Where we come from. Noises. And really, what? Oh, sorry, I was fixing my headset.
Okay.
So more James Storm, talks about where he came from. Really makes you think he'll beat the odds here. So we're going to get a number 1 contenders tag team ladder match next week. And with that said, here comes Matt Hardy.
We have Schroeder.
And
Schroeder Hardy.
Yeah. If you question Broken Matt, he will eat and delete you.
Oh, God.
And Brother Nero comes out, and Matt Hardy is there to yell obsolete since Rebby's not here.
And now you got the fans doing it, as we'll get to in a little later.
Well, that's what happens later. So even Jeff is mouthing off Matt's catchphrase. Even the song, he's like, obsolete. Yeah, I know. So Jeff wonders why Matt bit part of a fan's face off, and Matt says, ants aren't allowed to judge gods.
Have you heard Matt Hardy's interview on the Jericho podcast?
No, but I have heard everyone tell me to listen to that.
If you want 2 hours of broken Matt Hardy in character, I guess.
Because it is, yeah. So here comes the tribunal, and Shit Al has that whistle. And Al asks Matt, you look like, how about you skin a puppy and make it a coat? And I'm like, the spirit of the late Pepper is not amused. Al, Pepper, you ate Pepper. Remember? Well,
Pepper's sake.
Well, you were forced to eat Pepper by Boss Man. May he rest in peace also. So he calls Brother Nero a loser. And apparently the real talent is in France. Yeah, the best talent France has ever delivered, and it's a legend, is Andre the Giant.
Yes. Yep.
So Jeff calls for a ref to come out, and we are having Jeff take on the tribunal on his own with Al whistling my annoyance. So I had to unleash the mute button.
Delete.
So Matt actually got into the face of a fan who had a Jeff Hardy sign. He actually got in the fan's face. Basically, the fan turned into, got hypnotized by him, ripped the sign, and started doing the talking about obsolete. Saying, obsolete! Obsolete! Or is it delete? I don't remember. I said I muted. So Al Snow goes to Matt. He's like, what the hell are you doing? And, of course, Al pointed at him, so Matt's got to bite Snow's fingers. Baraka gets pissed and attacks Matt, and Matt beats his ass.
Fingers taste like chicken.
Yep, so Brother Nero hits a Twist of Fate on Baron Dax and wins. And then Matt talks about how he deleted Jeff's passion, and Jeff says, "Oh, my passion's gone? My passion's gone? I'll show you my passion!" And he just hits Twist of Fates at all the tribunal. Puts Al
Swanton to a table for no real reason.
He sets up 2 tables. Swanton bombs onto Al Snow and then puts himself through the table.
I am now broken.
Actually,
like
though,
you.
It was a splash onto Al Snow, not a Swanton. And then Nero says the only person that punishes him is him. Swanton's just bombed through the table. And then he starts laughing, and he says, "I'm Brother Nero!"
Oh, God.
Yes, you are broken! So then Franklin is backstage, and he has problems with Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan posting videos that, "I know what you've been doing with James Storm." And Billy's like, "We made you the same offer to your people." And Franklin's like, "And you rejected it." And Franklin's like, "I do all my talking in the ring. I don't need this crap. I will have all the belts and all the power."
Because somehow wrestling belts bring you power.
Yeah, we did this with Bischoff years ago, and it was stupid then. So, apparently, Kay taught Bram a lesson that that he is never in control with Decay, that no one is ever in control with Decay. So Bram has been destroyed, aka they killed him. Great. Now TNA is accessory to murder. Should have called the fucking cops. Before, yeah. So, now time for Drew Galloway, and he seems not in the best of mood.
Nope.
And he says, "Look, before tonight, I wasn't here last week. If I had shown up, I would have been in jail for what I did. I was the first world traveling world champion since Ric Flair," which, of course, is a lie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he's understandably upset with EC3. He calls EC3 a snake in the grass and green with envy, and says, "I'm challenging EC3 for that Bound for Glory title shot." Drew drops the mic and leaves. And then a third James Storm segment talking about the odds that Storm has overcome despite the naysayers.
Build up.
And the main event, Franklin versus James Storm for the world title, the X Division title, and the King of the Mountain title. And Franklin has a neck headband around his neck. I do not know why. And they're like, Franklin could snap Conor McGregor in half, and I'm like, yeah, he might beat him, but I don't think he'd snap him in half. No. He might beat him due to size, but yeah, I don't think he'd snap him in half. Sorry, Josh. I know you tried to do this with Sienna and Amanda Nunez. The only difference is size, and they wouldn't be in their weight classes. That'd be illegal. So Franklin with the cheap shot on the James Storm, and the match begins. Last call, which was delayed. He had the 3 count, but the ref is getting Derby Borash out of the ring, goes to make the count, and it's a 2 count, and fans are yelling it was 3. Could have been 3, but it wasn't really. And yeah, honestly, yeah, the bell when the bell was rung, the ref should have counted, but yeah. So I had the Storm by James Storm 2 count, and I was actually surprised he was able to get Lashley to do this. And again, the crowd says it was 3. It wasn't.
Not a 3.
Yes. Guys, TNA, not everything a face does is a 3 count. This wasn't 3. You don't know how this works. When you say that was 3, it's because the ref fucked up. You don't say it because the heel kicked out and you want the face to win. So, anyways, Storm goes first on doing the exposed turnbuckle that Franklin was easily able to expose. Now the Dominator is apparently a spine buster instead of the running power slam. And Franklin with a spear only gets a 2 count. James Storm does 2 last calls and gets 2 count. Again, the crowd's saying it was 3. It's not. Stop. So Franklin spears him. He has all 3 belts. I wanted someone to eventually Photoshop Franklin Turtle with 3 belts. That never came true. And of course, here comes Aaron Rex to steal the focus from this really good match by being one to stare down Franklin.
You're not going to be in that scene for a while, Aaron.
Yeah. I'll give this show a B. Nothing to give an A to, but a solid show nonetheless.
It was solid.
Yeah, it was solid, but nothing... Yeah, it was solid, but nothing to give an A to.
And here comes the next show, which I missed.
Oh, you missed quite a crap show, actually.
Ooh, I took a good week off then.
Yeah, you took a good week off. I DVR'd this one. Recap of why Franklin now has all 3 titles. Franklin gets into the fight there. Aaron Rex was on the ramp and says, dude, what were you doing out there, man? You want to steal focus, man? You want to steal focus? And of course, as he leaves, James Storm comes to the ring and he wants to talk to Brian Hebner. And he's like, explain the hiccup with what happened. And he's like, dude, I was trying to get JP. I didn't ring the bell. And I was like, but you heard the bell, Brian Hebner. When you hear the bell, you count. You stay focused. You forget that other shit and you get involved. You get focused on the match. So Brian Hebner did make a boo-boo. So James Storm is mad, understandable. He wants a rematch, which, considering the ref did fuck up, is reasonable. But here comes Billy Corgan to be an asshole.
Very uncharismatic one, I'd wager.
No, not very uncharismatic with Billy Corgan. He's been an asshole for a while. And he legitimately says, dude, games are won in the 4th quarter. He's like, this ain't football, motherfucker. Not in the first. I'm like, this ain't football. And yes, games can be won in the 1st quarter if you beat the living crap out of the team. Carolina Panthers sure did that in the playoffs, just not in the Super Bowl. You could beat a team in the 1st quarter pretty easily, actually. So, yeah. James, and then he says, hey, maybe you can't win the big one. And I'm like, Billy, how long have you been watching TNA? He did win the big one. In fact,
he's showing all the videos last week.
Yeah, you showed the video last week. He won the world title. This was his first shot in God knows how long. So, yeah, he can't win the big one because maybe he can't win the big one since then because he hadn't gotten the opportunity. So, yeah, he wants a rematch. And then Storm gets pissed off, understandably, grabs a hammer and starts destroying the ring, and here comes security, and Storm fucks himself over. Gets in Billy's face, basically says, I'll smash your pumpkin, which is a horrible pun. It's a security guard with a beer bottle. And Billy's like, hey, cowboy, woohoo! Hey, cowboy, you want to know what? You're suspended till further notice. And that's how they write off James Storm from TNA. Congrats, guys.
Yeah, this happens right on the Build to Bound for Glory, just like last year. He leaves the company, or he somewhat leaves the company right before that.
Well, to be fair in that one, he did have contract issues, so... And this one, he still has apparently TNA can't pay him the contract.
They can't afford to pay him at TNA round.
Yeah, they can't afford to pay him the contract that they signed him to get him back to TNA from NXT.
Dixie Carter can't afford, whoever runs the company now, can't afford to pay anybody.
Yeah, she's now the chairwoman, and now Billy's the president of the company.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by the way, that happened. I think we mentioned that last week. We mentioned that last
not a damn thing's changed.
Yeah, even though Dixie's going to be doing the international stuff, Billy's going to be doing the local stuff, the booking and things like that. But Big John Gabork's still the head of writing. So anyway, Mike Bennett talks about conspiracies and Moose being his game breaker. And Moose talks about knocking Ray Lewis and Vince Wilfork on his ass. Unless he did that while he was a Falcon, he didn't do it as a Patriot. Because I checked, he never started in New England. He got suspended because of PEDs. Yeah, he took them. Got 4 games.
Yep.
For failing drug tests, and yeah. So anyway, Storm is leaving and is mad. So, time for Eddie Edwards versus Moose. And Pope is nice enough to say that Bennett has no managerial license, so why is he out here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie had the victory, but Moose is bothering the ref, so... And there's a point where Moose has to run into the turnbuckle, but he slows down before hitting it. You don't, Moose, I understand, but it looks terrible. It's like when Kelly would run the ropes, but would slow down so she wouldn't get a huge gash on her back when she hit the ropes.
I hate it when they do spots like that, or when they do the whip and the person gets confused on which way to go.
Or basically, I don't want to really hit the ropes because I might hurt myself.
Then
You're in
why
pro wrestling.
Are you here?
Yeah, why are you here? So Edwards takes out Miracle, but he took too long to celebrate and goes up the top rope. Moose hits his go-to-hell finisher and wins the match. Backstage, Maria is talking to Jade about winning the match, and Jade's like, I don't want to do this. And Maria's like, you know what? You don't win. You're not going to get another opportunity at the Knockouts title.
Throwing her way around.
Here comes this fucking confusing mess with Kabuki Taker versus Jade. Jade says getting her hands on Maria is more important than winning the belt. Which she's doing this whole thing to do. And I'm like, Gail, you're doing this whole thing to get a title shot. You already have a future match with Maria in the books. Billy promised you that. So this whole burial division is about getting a title shot. When did Gail fucking forget that point? And of course, once again, the crowd chants that was 3 when the ref got to a 2 count.
This crowd is uneducated.
Yes. So Gail hits the Eat Defeat, but Sienna attacks Gail and causes a DQ. This is where things get stupid.
Does that mean Jade wins?
No, Gail won by disqualification, but Maria says Gail will never get another title shot again because she lost.
She fucking won by DQ.
Even though she won by DQ, which means Jade doesn't get another title shot. Basically TNA fucked up. And even Pope's like, oh, that's malarkey, baloney. She won.
TNA.
So yes, even the commentators say the same thing. Sienna takes a bow and we have to move on from this stupidity. So Franklin's backstage with all 3 belts. And he's taunting DJZ, Braxton Sutter, and Mark Andrews. And Sutter says, dude, congrats on all 3 belts. You don't have to be a prick about it.
Hell yeah.
And another fucking confusing says, between the 3 of us, the winner between the match between the 3 of us should be number 1 contender for the X Division title. And Franklin's like, none of you will beat me, but you should stay tuned for what I have planned later. So here comes DJZ while Andrews and Sutter get a jobber entrance, but turns out it's not a triple threat match. It's a fatal 4-way because they forgot Rockstar Spud's in it.
Poor Spud.
So, yeah, they say the winner between the 3 of them, yeah, Spud's in the match too, motherfuckers. Somebody forgot.
Spud's invisible.
Yeah, so...
Who's
Josh
in the
says,
4-way, by the way? Who else? DJZ, Spud,
so Josh...
Andrews, and somebody else?
Mark Andrews, Braxton Sutter, DJZ, and Rockstar Spud. And Josh says Franklin was saying something to all 4 of the men in the back, and I was like, no, he only talked to 3 of them. Count, TNA. 3 is not 4.
Men.
Yeah. Do we need to bring the count from Sesame Street to straighten your ass? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 3 bases basically beat up Spud, and then there's a lot of roll-ups. And Spud teases flying, and he goes in and laughs like an internet troll would. So, and they basically admit that the storyline for Mark Andrews is he does too much, and it costs him every time. He tries to do too much in a match.
A few months that he's on TV.
Yes, he tries to do too much in a match, and it costs him every single time. So,
which would be good if he was actually on TV more for them to play that up.
And if they were actually going to fucking do something with it.
Yeah.
Like, where he eventually learns. Or turns heel.
And doesn't do flippy moves.
which would do perfect with Rockstar Spud since they're both British boot camp winners.
You can call them the British boot camp.
Or, yeah, And then Spud threatened to grabbed Sutter and made him bite the ropes.
Delicious.
And he's about to kick Sutter in the back of the head, but so go American X style on him, or History X on him, but DJZ makes the save. And of course, DJZ hits the ZDT to pin Andrews. Still there, Mike?
I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, cameraman asks EC3 about Drew's challenge. EC3 says, I'm going to go head to the ring right now and answer him. So backstage, Dixie's like, why did you suspend James Storm? He's like, I had to. He was threatening me. And Dixie's
like, attacked your security with a hammer.
Yeah,
that's unsafe working environment.
Yes, unsafe work. Yes, he kind of had to. He is right. Ultimately, he had to. But Dixie then says, this is all Franklin's fault. He has too much power and stuff. We need to talk to him. So they go.
That's going to go well.
Yeah, so EC3's in the ring. He calls out Drew Galloway so he can give him the answer. And then Drew comes out and he says, I think you're going to turn this down because I think you're a snake in the grass. And he's like, well, I accept. Challenge accepted. And then here comes Aaron Rex. Remember when last week where he's basically the guy who just butts in situations where he doesn't belong. That's apparently his gimmick.
Is not like the other.
Yeah, so basically, this whole thing isn't about him being a WWE, but the beginning of his entrance still has the hallelujah on it. Get rid of that.
Uh-huh.
And Aaron's like, the entire universe has been watching Impact, Aaron. I'm like, no. Sorry, the ratings have been getting better, but no, not even close. Not even close. They may watch a YouTube clip of the Broken Hardy stuff, but no, you're being an idiot. So
you guys need a special referee.
And I just happen to go in the back and get myself go in the back to TNA management, and I got myself to be special guest referee for your match.
Well, that's convenient, considering you don't belong in that spot.
Yeah. Yes, it's just convenient also because, hey, what are you doing? This didn't involve you. But yeah, Eli Drake's backstage, talks about the King of the Mountain title, or as he likes to call it, the Eli Drake title. And he says, I want my rematch. I want a shot at it. And then Franklin goes up and says, you know what, I'm going to deal with you soon, but I don't have time for this. And then bumps into Sienna, eyeballs her title, and Sienna tells him not to get cute. And he's like, easy. And I'm like, aw, no Franklin in a wig? To go for the Frankina. Oh, no Fran? No Fran? Aw, too bad. So, anyway, we go to a Hardy segment, and we see Brother Nero in his new broken attire as Vanguard 1 and Matt Hardy show up.
Matt Hardy and R2-D2.
Brother Nero's new stuff is he has white lenses now on his eyes. And dark lipstick.
Dear God.
Yeah. And he's really sweating. So, Matt said, I had a premonition, Brother Nero, that if you use a ladder, the match will end with you the ladder over your carcass, with the winner getting the contract. So I must stop your addiction. So when you see a letter in the ring, you must delete and throw it outside.
He must stop his addiction. Where was he a decade ago?
I know, you must stop your addiction to ladders. And Jeff is he's like, delete! Because these letters are obsolete! Obsolete! And Jeff's like, I fade away and God's self is obsolete! And Matt does the orgasmic smile, and he's like, ah!
Creepy.
So, next week, EC3 versus Drew gets announced. And then Eli Drake comes out and has a mic. He's mad about not being on last week's Impact. And James Storm's crying in failure. James Storm does all this crying and gets out the opportunity, and he fails. So how about Franklin, come on out here, because you're scared of me. But of course, here comes Shira.
For some reason.
Oh, for some reason. Oh, he butchers a fucking promo. I really need to get to what he said, because he absolutely butchers a fucking promo. It's funny what he's. So yeah, he says, I want to fight. I want fight you. Want you fight.
I want to fight.
No, he says it broken English. He's really terrible at English. I want to fight you. Like something like that. It's like really terrible.
Thank you. Come again.
Oh God. So anyway, Shira still sucks in the ring. The match happens.
And
Eli Drake wins, although I noticed he's got a super tan for this show. He wins
How
with
long was he in Florida?
I don't know. He won with a stupid blunt force trauma finisher. That was it.
Give
Basically,
him something better.
I know. So Dixie and Billy talk to Franklin and want to know the announcement, and Franklin says, I act. I don't just tell you. Act, and they react. I have the power here. So you know what? I'm going to go out there and say my announcement. And they're like, we can't do anything. So Franklin the Turtle comes out, and he grabs 2 TNA personnels, gives them the X Division title and World title, and have X Division title and the King of the Mountain title, and has them hold them, while he has the World title. He basically says, look at me. And he's like, Franklin, you're not Rob Conway.
Now?
You're not Rob Conway. So,
just
Dixie,
look at me.
You want to know who I am? You want to know what my announcement is? Come on out. So Franklin's like, you know what? I've beaten the X Division. I beat the King of the Mountain title. I'm the world champion. I want to unify all these belts and Dixie and make them a lot richer by changing his company. And Dixie and Billy are like, you have no right to make that decision. Turtle says, I do. And Billy says, no, you don't. I make the decisions. And Franklin says, okay. King of the Mountain title? This title's garbage. It's been garbage. Throws it down. I'm not liking where this is going. Grabs the X Division, says, this title's been the backbone of your division, but I've beaten everyone for this. So, throwing it down. And then he fucking leaves. Fuck you, TNA. You know when you do these storylines, you're supposed to do when somebody has all the belts, because eventually they're going to get beat, and they're going to put over somebody big.
Which should have been the build to Bound for Glory.
Yeah, but no. TNA decides, no, we're not going to do that.
We're just going to shit on both belts.
We're going to have, although the King of the Mountain title does kind of deserve to be shit, but the X Division title does not. This is your basic company.
That's where Dixie or Corgan should have stepped in and said, you can't do that. We're going to take this and we're going to have a match for it in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're not going to do it. But no. So, anyways, Billy Corgan like, how dare you? How dare you? So, to punish him, they say they're going to have an open invitational battle royal next week, and the winner gets a future title shot before Bound for Glory.
That's punishment.
That's punish. And here's Franklin's response to this. He laughs at it.
Why not?
Seriously. He fucking laughs at it. He fucking laughs at your punishment.
The punishment should be that he has to defend the title in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, you have to defend the world title in the Battle Royal. You don't do this. This is God. You basically had this man shit all over your titles, and you basically just, okay, we're going to give you like a slap on the wrist. We're going to give you a slap on the wrist.
Bobby.
No problem, Franklin. No problem. Third man. So, yeah, basically, Billy says the new X Division champion will be crowned soon, despite Franklin making some good points. Basically means the King of the Mountain title. But you know what, Franklin? But Billy, no matter who the next champion is, they're always going to be garbage. They're going to be treated as garbage because Franklin just treated the belt as garbage.
He buried it completely.
He buried the whole fucking thing completely. This pisses me off to no fucking end. And at this point...
How is anybody going to care about that division?
By the way, I forgot... So, it's time for the Ascension to Hell match that they've been hyping up, kind of. And it's a basic ladder match. And, Billy talks about wins and losses, matter, and stuff.
By the way, isn't Hell supposed to be down? Wouldn't it be...
I know. It makes no sense. So, Billy Corgan's been saying wins and losses matter when he talked to James Storm, and you lost last time. So, who are the other three teams? The Bromans, who lost last time we saw them.
Tribunal, who just lost.
Who just got beat by freaking Jeff Hardy on his own.
And
the Helms Dynasty, who last we saw them...
on a freaking regular team.
We're getting beaten up by Eddie Edwards. So Billy, you are...
Three random teams in the Hardys.
Three random teams who have basically... Neither one of them has won their last match. So fuck you, Billy, again.
Wins and losses matter, but we don't have any other tag teams.
Yeah, you're talking out of your ass, Billy. So, of course, Al Snow's here because he's recovering from Brother Nero's attacks, and that's the one good thing that has happened.
No whistle.
And, of course, Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett are without Gregory Helms because TNA has kept Helms from ringside, despite the fact that he had an appeal in the past against doing this, because he does have a manager's license.
At least we don't have to see his ugly green suits.
Yeah, so basically, they've crapped all over that idea. And, of course, last is the Broken Hardys with Broken Matt and Brother Nero. Brother Nero comes out with water coming out of his mouth.
He's Gangrel.
Yep. Well, no, Gangrel has blood. This is just water. So...
Triple H. Triple Hardy.
Despite what Broken Matt told Brother Nero to do, Brother Nero's first response is to throw a ladder in the ring. Matt told you not to throw him out of the ring when they came in. And Brother Nero tries to go climb the ladder, and Matt says, No, don't. So Matt has to come in and throw the ladder out of the ring, and the Tribunal attacks him. So, and Trevor Lee tries to throw a ladder out of the ring and has issues with it.
Trevor Lee versus ladder.
And there's a double back suplex by the Bromans, but Trevor Lee botches the jump and lands on his fucking head on a back suplex. You know, the back thing where you put them in the turnbuckle, they come off, not the turnbuckle, but the ropes. They come off the ropes, you bend down, you pick them up, and I think that's what they call back suplex or whatever they call it.
Sure.
But anyways, he basically falls on his head instead of on his back. So Andrew Everett gets bitten the hand, and then Trevor Lee gets his boot bitten by Matt Hardy, and then Matt bites both members of the Bromance and is threatening to bite Raquel, but she slaps him, and he laughs. And the French guys
by worse than you
are in the middle of the ring, and they're afraid to climb the ladders, apparently. So they're slowly climbing up the ladders, but the Bromans stop them. Matt bites the face of Andrew Everett and chases Raquel away. Jesse has Basile Baraka on an Adonis crab on a flat ladder, which has no less effect than a regular ladder. Like, oh, he's on the doing it on the ladder. I'm like, dude, it's like the freaking doing a crab on a fucking table. It does nothing. So Trevor Lee does a running powerbomb under the ladder, which at the time I had seen the show was 2 days after the whole Seth Rollins mess. But thankfully for Trevor Lee, he doesn't propel the guy into the turnbuckle. He holds the guy, then runs to the turnbuckle and just lets him hit the turnbuckle before dropping him, which is how you do it. And then, of course, with the ladder being on the other side, like not flat, but on the side of the ladder, Brother Nero does a side effect onto it. Ouch. And Jeff Hardy basically gets ultimately underneath the ladder. He's and Broken Matt climbs up the ladder that is over his brother's carcass, and gets the contracts. Match over. Matt chomps to the camera, and the show's over. And I was originally going to give this an F, but I remembered that most of the Gale and Jade match was actually pretty good. So, gets a D.
Yeah, seems like I skipped a good week there.
Yeah, you did. You skipped a very good week. You chose a very good time to skip, because this was fucking awful.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds it.
Then we go to this week's show.
And we start with my least favorite match in wrestling.
Well, actually, we start with them hyping up the summit between EC3 and Drew. Who are like, why did you call this?
Remember the crushing. Why are they at a beach or a landing or something?
No, they're at a pool. They're at a pool on top of a hotel. And they're like...
That sounds safe.
And Drew's like, well, there's free whiskey here, so that's okay with him.
Truth.
Drew.
Drew?
Yeah, I said Drew.
Oh.
Yeah, Drew says there's free whiskey, so...
Oh, that's what you
okay
want,
with
drunk
me.
Irishman.
Yeah, Scottish.
Whatever.
Drew's Scottish. So, I'm asking, who decided to summit in the pool area?
Somebody.
I don't know, and here comes Franklin the Turtle. And he decides to go over to the commentation station, the commentator station, and, because there's actual continuity somewhat in this storyline, Pope still hates Franklin, so he's leaving. He's going to take a coffee break.
I forgot about that storyline, by the way.
Yeah.
They brought it up, and I'm like, oh, that's right, that did happen.
Yeah, so he's going to take a coffee break.
I bet TNA's coffee
and
don't
Franklin's
taste good.
Awesome as commentator here. He is incomplete. I don't give a shit who wins this thing.
I'm here to cash a check, whatever check I get.
I am here just to watch this. Just to watch it. Why not?
Josh Matthews just tries to poke the bear every time.
He tries to, and he just says, like I said, I don't care.
Bobby Lashley could be a good announcer if they did that regularly. I could see that working.
Yeah, so the Bromans come out, and I hope them to be eliminated early. Then Eli Drake comes out, who I can root for. Then the Tribunal comes out, but they're without Al Snow still, thankfully. Grado comes out. Josh tries to hype up that, hey, you could be fighting Grado, and Franklin laughs and says,
no.
He's like, this guy is a joke. Really?
And
this
I
guy's
agree.
not. And I'm like, thank you, Turtle Man. So here comes Sheer. He's like, you could fight Sheer. And he's like, he's too new. He doesn't have enough experience, man. So here comes Miracle Moose, and Franklin says, Miracle has a chance. He's actually smart. And then
the dumb guy following him.
Yeah. And he's smart. He doesn't listen to these people and stuff. And then Eddie Edwards comes out, and it's like, well, you beat this guy and stuff. And he's like, well, I'm going to give him credit. He was a tough competition. So then he says, if Moose doesn't win this, I never want to hear from him again. So basically, Baron Dax gets eliminated by his own partner. And then Sheer gets eliminated by Moose. We get a commercial break. I thought TNA was going to eliminate people during the commercial break, but holy crap, they didn't.
I think they did a
miracle
promo for the Extravaganza show this weekend right here, too, at some point.
Oh, God. Oh, that mess. So, Robbie E. gets eliminated by Basile Baraka. He taunts. Moose is behind him. Eliminates Baraka. Franklin laughs and says, well, that's impressive. That's actually impressive. Eliminated both those. So, Josh keeps trying to get Franklin to complain. Is this fair? Unfair? And he's like, dude, life's unfair. I'm enjoying this. I'm a fighter, man. That's what I do. I fight. So Josh is trying to poke the bear, and he's just not giving a crap. So Grado gets eliminated by Eli Drake, and he's like, So he's like, well, who do you want to fight out of these four? Like, who would you prefer? And he's like, I don't care.
You already asked me this.
You already asked me this. I don't freaking care. whoever wins, I'll destroy them. It's bad luck for them, good luck for me.
I mean, I give credit for Josh for trying to do his job, but you don't have to ask him the same question that he just answered.
Yeah, he's Franklin's not giving him anything. He's just like, dude, I'm keeping up. I don't care who wins. But when Josh tried to say, like, Grado could fight you, and he's like, no.
No, he's not in my league.
No.
He's a comedy doofus.
It's a joke. And so Eli Drake gets eliminated by Eddie Edwards. Final four is Edwards, Jesse, who he actually did give props to out of the bromance. He said Jesse has a good chance of winning this thing because he does.
Good look. He has potential.
He has potential, yeah. Moose and Miracle. So Moose eliminates Jesse Goddard. And which is bad news for Eddie Edwards. Then we get to the finish where Moose is about to eliminate Eddie, and Miracle eliminates them both. And Franklin laughs. It's like,
Miracle being
smart
the
move.
Heel, and that sets up that match.
Interesting. Franklin is smiling as Miracle is pointing to him. And he's like, you know what this means? This means the miracle is done.
A miracle's going to need a miracle to beat me.
And then they show some of the preview for them, and you see EC3 and Drew drinking together. And I'm like... Before match.
That's tremendous.
And they say Aaron Rex has arrived in the arena, and then we see a Fixer commercial, which is an adult now, and I am like, thank God. So backstage, Moose is pissed at the Miracle backstage, and Miracle's like, it's Eddie's fault, man. I swear, I was meant to eliminate Eddie Edwards. I didn't mean to eliminate you both. And it was like, both. And Maria, meanwhile, is like, get out of here, Cameron. Please, get out of here. Go. So Broken Matt Hardy comes out. And he's like, with the contract. This contract is the majestic key that unlocks destiny, which is the tag team titles of the world. The tag titles are decaying, but will be restored by my broken brilliance. And then here comes Brother Nero, and Matt's like, why are you here? And one thing I did notice, Jeff has rosy cheeks.
Why?
It's Jeff Hardy. Jeff's like, I'm here to work, and I'm here to wrestle. So then as Rosemary is laughing with us there, saying, the Hardys, you're so worried about what everyone thinks of them. And you should be worried about decay. Then Abyss comes out from the ramp and says, we will take joy in destroying what is left of the Hardy legacy, as you will forever rot in decay. And then Crazy Steve laughs from the crowd and says, you need to wake up, as this is not a game. And Matt calls Crazy Steve Steven. I am going to eat the man who I have had a premonition about the man who tries to steal my kid. And I will eat them. So anyway, long story short, after this creepy promo between the two of them, Brother Nero fights Abyss tonight. Mm-hmm. And Pope is back because Franklin left. So Brother Nero tries to go to the top rope, and Matt's like, no, don't. You cannot use the top rope. It will hurt you. So he uses the top rope, but he goes after Crazy Steve on the outside. And then Crazy Steve, basically there's something happens, and Brother Nero hits a low blow and chain behind the ref's back, but only gets a 2 count. And then Crazy Steve accidentally missed Abyss, Twist of Fate, but only gets a 2 count. And Matt says, the person in my premonition is Steve, and starts biting Crazy Steve, who is laughing while he's doing this.
That's not weird at all.
Yeah. So this distracts the ref, so while Jeff's on the top rope, Rosemary misses him, and Abyss hits the black hole slam for the win. So Matt Hardy is like, Decay, your day of deletion will come. Brother Nero, you have a lot to learn. I told you, using the top rope would lose this battle. But you must learn. Only time to be truly broken. So Maria's mad at Allie for not... like, look, I didn't what? you said, it's like, why didn't you tell me about, Sienna having a title shot tonight, title match tonight? And Allie's like, I told you, I sent you an email and stuff, and he's like, I don't read all my emails.
That's a good block of a division.
Yeah, then that's your fault. Who went over my head on this one? And Billy says, I did. And he's like, well, Billy, you and I are equals here. You don't need to go over my head on this one. And he's like, no, we're not equals. I'm your boss. I'm the president of this company. And since I can't do anything about the Gail Kim situation, which he seriously can because Gail Kim won, and Maria's being an ass. But he says, Sienna stuck her nose last week, so she's going to defend her title tonight. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be against more than one opponent, but just go to the ring now and you'll see who you're fighting. And then I got a photo of Matt Hardy with a beloved giraffe from his personal zoo. Yeah, broken Matt Hardy in his house has a personal zoo.
Yep.
His vessel contains
right.
And he says his vessel contains the soul of our country's forefather, George Washington.
Mm.
So Franklin goes backstage. He goes to talk to the Miracle. He says, you better be careful what you wish for. And Miracle's like, oh, you're looking past him. I'm going to beat you. And Miracle's like, I know you're worried about me. What you should be worried about, Moose. You kind of made some mistakes. So Sienna's in the ring. She finds out her opponents are Martin Bell, Jade, Madison Rayne, and Allie?
Yep.
Oh, dear God. I read the spoilers. I remember what happened. So this match is no DQ. Only one fall wins. Jade and Martin Bell immediately go after each other, while Sienna and Allie double team Madison. Well, Sienna does most of the work, while Allie just comes in. And here comes Maria, who, despite people saying she shouldn't lay her hands on talent, grabs Madison Rayne and pulls her to the outside for no reason. There's a spot where Martin Bell's about to use the baton, but Allie has a tug-of-war with her, and while she's pulling, she accidentally hits Sienna with it.
Whoops.
So, basically, at some point, Allie gets knocked out onto Madison Rayne, who's also out, and the ref counts 3 while Jade and Martin Bell are fighting each other, and your new champion's Allie. Sienna's title reign, just like Jade's title reign, is basically a throwaway, and they've basically spat on the women's division.
Yep.
They despite the past, TNA doesn't know what basically throws up on these titles. So, backstage, Aaron talks about being a ref, and then I spoke too soon because a Fixer commercial shows up where he's still using child labor. Call the cops! Call the cops! Get this kid away from him!
Where's the parents?
Yes. So, backstage, Allie's like, oh, I can't believe I won the Knockout Champion. I am at a loss of words. And it's like,
what about Maria?
What about Maria? And she's like, oh. Like,
that's like deflating the air out of the balloon, isn't it?
Yeah, that deflated the air in the balloon. Like, she realized Maria's going to be pissed.
Like, fuck.
Aw. Oh, aw. Man. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So then we go to the summit where they're drinking and EC3 is like, so what's your deal, man? And Drew makes up good points. Dude, you've screwed me out of the title 3 times. And EC3's like, so? Dude, you screwed me out of the title 3 times. Like, okay, I told you on the 3rd one not to do it, not to come out and help me. I told you specifically. And he's like, okay, I came out and helped you. I made a mistake. And this match, this is why I accepted this match. I'm sorry. He's like, well, you know what? I'm going to hit harder than I've ever had against you. And the EC3's like, well, I'm going to hit back. And we'll see who wins.
And EC3 goes in the pool.
So EC3's like, won't we get cheer to EC 3-time champion? And Drew's like, no. Why don't we just say cheers to our cats instead? And EC3 was like, okay. Yeah, because both of them have cats. And then as EC3 goes to leave. Galloway pushes him into the pool and says, "You never turn your back on me." Well, this summit seems rather peaceful.
It's not the Crushing Randy Savage one.
Yeah, this was peaceful as hell. It was basically just pushing in the pool. There's two friends drinking. One friend gets pushed in the pool, and is okay with it. So Moose leaves, is like going through, like there's a far parking lot and stuff, and Franklin makes fun of him for parking so far.
I like this. Franklin is being a dick to Moose.
He's like, "Here's my card, man. When he come to the restaurant with me, and maybe, just maybe, I'll make you can pick up the tab."
Oh, Lashley, you're actually a good dick.
Yeah, you are. It's like
we have a fact of life segment somewhere in this show.
Next is his fact of life segment. He basically stirred the pot. He's stirring the pot between these two. So Eli Drake calls TNA management dummies for not giving him a title shot back to the Eli Drake title match.
And he's got all the X Division guys out. I was hoping he would call him a parade of dummies.
And he's like, "Well, you know what? I want each of you to say who doesn't have a shot," and Spud interrupts and say, "Braxton Sutter, you do not have a shot." And Braxton Sutter's response, "Spud, you're small and you have braces."
Yeah, Spud owns Sutter, and that's the best Sutter can do.
And I'm like, you're supposed to be the face here, right? You're making fun of a dude's height and braces? And then Spud, because you kicked him out.
You hit me in the teeth.
You hit me in the teeth. Then he becomes a perfect heel. Basically says, well, all of them are not going to win. I forget what he said about DJZ. He said, "The hell, you both are from North Carolina," which that says enough.
Buries them.
Yeah, buries them. They're from North Carolina. Which that basically says enough about you guys. And then he says to Mark Andrews, my favorite comment, "You're short and you're blonde, and that will never get over."
Ironic.
It's irony. It's irony. He doesn't realize what the hell he's talking about because he's the same. So Drake's like, none of you have convinced me you have the chance to be champ. You have the cojones. You have what it takes down there to be champ. You have a
tingle in your loins.
Yeah. So DJZ's like, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect us. And one day, I'm not going to allow Franklin to disrespect us. And one day, Franklin, somebody is going to beat you.
Yeah, it won't be you, DJZ. I'm sorry.
And he's like, "Dummy." Yeah. And so DJZ's like, "Hit that button one more time."
And the talk show stereotype, it ends in a brawl.
Z threatens to hit the button, but Z destroys the set and everyone fights. And Drake's like sitting there while all these guys are fighting. And most of them go on the outside. And then Eli Drake does a great thing where he's like, I'm gonna go over the top rope. He goes around, gets to the ropes, hits the button that says "dummy." Yeah.
It's like Dalton Castle teasing the diver just doing a pose.
I know, or like Kevin Owens when he was in that ladder match with Finn Balor. He's about to run up it looks like he's about to run up the ladder to hit Finn, which is leaned on him, but instead he just goes over and just hits him in the face, punches him in the face. Yeah. He does it. Basically, he's going to threaten something, and then he just trolls the audience. But anyway, DJ beats him, hits him on the hits him to the outside, and DJZ basically has him ducks, and DJZ flips out to the outside to hit everyone else, and goes back to the ring, and Eli Drake runs. So basically, they just made DJZ look good, but everyone else looks like a complete fucking goof.
And that match is next week.
Yeah, Ultimate X Gauntlet match. Also the world title match next week. And main event time as Drew Galloway fights EC3 with Aaron Rex as the referee. And this match was pretty good.
Yeah, this match was good.
We had Galloway with a Celtic cross onto the steel steps.
And stop doing those moves onto the steel steps.
Somebody was bleeding because you immediately noticed Galloway's rip tape with blood on it. Somebody was bleeding, but you never could tell who.
Probably EC3 if it was on Galloway's rip tape.
Yeah. Probably EC3 from the top of his head, because I think there was that one moment where he did a jawbuster and Galloway's chin hit directly on on the top of his head. So EC3 does a power bomb off the top rope, then does another sit-down power bomb, only gets 2 count. TK3, Galloway still up and on the ropes. Sit-down power bomb after a weak Claymore by Drew to get a 2 count. Then we have them trade chops. A lot of chest chops.
Woo! Strong style.
Yeah. So Claymore, 2 count because he did not pin EC3's legs, and EC3 got his leg on the ropes. So he tries again while grabbing the leg, but it's too late and gets a 2 count. Drew goes for a future shock off the top rope, but EC3 hits a Hangman 1%er for a 2 count. And Galloway goes for a Tombstone Pile Driver. 2 count. Then they do a reversal of finishers, but EC3 hits a jackknife roll pin for the win.
And he retains his shot at Bound for Glory.
Yep, he leaves, and basically it looks like that's going to be the end of the show, but heel turn! Drew Galloway attacks Aaron Rex. Reason. Well, and he slams Aaron Rex into the steps, slams his head into the steps. That's the show, how the show ends. I give this show a C.
The show was okay.
It was okay, yeah. Wasn't great. Better than last week's. So, that happened, and that out of the way. Do you have anything with that? All 3 shows done? Do you have anything to sell?
No, it's late. I think unless you have something to sell, we could probably get off here. And
well, I do have something to sell. This Saturday will be the Monster Crap induction of how to make a monster.
Yay.
And the next induction will be probably one you've all heard of, Sharknado.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Finally doing it.
And with that said,
Miley, we are heading to bed.
See you next week.